with the household chores, and all parents' ears are pricking up at the thought of how can I make this happen. I'd love to hear more about your parenting philosophy. You say you're not a parenting expert, or you claim you're not a parenting expert, but you do have a lot of expertise in this field and in making us think in different ways about, I suppose, how we go about things in the house and in the family.
Yeah, I'd like to think so. So you're right. I'm not a parenting expert. I would not call myself one at all. But what I am is a parent. First of all, I've got a couple of young kids, and therefore I've had a chance to, as most of us do, practice what I come up with on them. But also, interestingly, I come from a family of teachers, and I used to work in education publishing. And so I think it's always been that intersection, actually, between parenting and education that has been really interesting for me. So the short version of the long story is a couple of years ago, I left my corporate role to start up KidCoachApp because I had this burning feeling and belief and desire to do something that helps parents educate children in different ways at home. School, I think we'll all identify with this. School doesn't always give our kids everything that they need. There's a lot talked about these 21st century skills like creativity and communication and critical thinking that are more and more required in the modern workplace. And actually, I saw a role, a thing that we could do as parents at home in the 5 minutes we might have at the dinner table or on the school run or out for a walk, or even when tidying up after dinner and doing chores and the like, where we could use those opportunities to build some of these skills. Teamwork would be another good one that relates to chores. And so what the app really does, what the KidCoach app does, it has a bunch of questions in there that parents can ask their children, which are deliberately designed and written to help build these sorts of skills. I'll give you one or two examples because they,
yes,
often
please.
Help.
Yep.
Little simple things like on creativity, right? What are 10 things we can do with a cup? Is one of our most popular questions. What are 10 things we can do with a cup? Okay, so we can drink from it, clear. But what else can we do with a cup? And I invite you, Lynette, to have a quick think about that now yourself. What are some other things you could do with a cup?
Kavin, I'm useless at things like this. This is where I would totally fail as a parent. You're putting that on me, and I'm thinking, okay, what would I do? And I suppose this is one question I had for you: is that the way you teach parenting, or your suggestions on KidCoach app, the parent learns along with the child, I feel.
I always see us as peers, not parents. When it comes to conversations like the kind that I'm trying to stimulate in the KidCoach app, yes, so we can learn together. And actually that's incredibly motivating for our children, right? So they're so used to this teacher-child dynamic, this master-pupil dynamic, but actually at home, we can be that peer on that level playing field. When we're doing a question like, what are 10 things to do with a cup? Or another one is quite popular to the kitchen also, what are different ways we could organize our fridge? Right, it's actually quite good for critical thinking, that one, because it helps you group items differently. Food on the left and drink on the right, perishable at the front, non-perishable at the back, whatever it is. And the key point here with all these types of questions is there's no right answer. I think that's probably the common thread for all of these kinds of questions that I encourage all parents to ask, because it's with questions with no right answer that they're not used to, because typically at school, 2 + 2 = 4, always, right? But actually, the world is full of grey spaces, as we all know, right? The world is not black and white. And the ability to think through all of that and form an opinion, even on, let's say, a silly, fun, light topic like what are 10 things to do with a cup, is actually a really useful thinking exercise, which is couched in something fun for kids, which makes it engaging. But we know sort of secretly, don't tell the kids, it's actually secretly developmental. And to your point, we can do it with the kids because there's no right answer. We're not the judge saying yes or no or marking them or anything. We're just having an open, fun chat and thinking through it together.
Yeah, I like the idea of encouraging them to think, engaging them, and also allowing yourself to be silly as you go along as well, because sometimes with the pressures of the world, parenting it is a huge responsibility, and it can feel like that as well, Kavin, and it can load parents down and weigh them down a lot of the time. And before we talk about the helping around the house with the chores and trying to encourage children to get involved, when we were thinking about this item today, I was thinking about patience and how patience is really important in this process. And what if a parent is really, really under pressure and just there's a lot going on and the background, and that you mentioned there the 5 minutes at the dinner table. What if that's a luxury, not a reality in a household? How can that be approached?
In terms of finding the time and making those meaningful moments.
The headspace, I suppose, yeah.
Yeah, so at this point, the app is used by thousands of parents. And like the thing that keeps coming back in terms of how they sort of successfully use it is to build the right habit, to build the right routine. And we know this from any other thing that we've tried to include in our life, right? Be it a new diet or a new fitness exercise or doing some mindfulness or meditation. We know how important habits and routines are. So one hack on this is to stack habits. So when I'm doing X, I'll also do Y. So for example, when I'm on the school run, I'll also ask an unusual question. Or when I'm sat at the dinner table, I will not ask, how was school today? Right? Because we tend to ask that question, it gets to a dead end. Or wherever you have that moment, whatever works for your family. To talk about another app as an example, my daughter has got into Simply Piano, which is a piano app, which helps the child sort of plays and the iPad listens and it kind of gamifies the experience. Anyway, she's got into the habit of doing it before school. So she really wants to do it. So I said, okay, well, off you go get ready. And if you're ready 5 or 10 minutes before we need to leave the house, then you get to do your app, right? So we've just built a habit that works for us. And I appreciate that a lot of lives around the world are very busy and parents are very, very hectic. But I'm pretty sure if we search hard, we could find literally a 5-minute pocket every few days that just happens to work for us.
So in those 10 minutes in the morning, though, I'm thinking you could pick up your clothes, you could put the dirty dishes in the sink, you could do all these different things in the house and leave the house clean for me. How can we get the children to help around the house with the chores, Kavin? Yeah,
so it might be worth thinking about like why is it important for children to help with chores, right? Like oftentimes when we understand the why and our children understand the why as well, it just makes for an easier process. So, everybody will have their own why. For me, which, for the Kid Coach philosophy of building future skills that matter, like for me, it's about those skills of teamwork, right? We're all in this together, of even citizenship. When you think broader about, it's not just us and our little family units, actually we all have a part to play in society generally. And, you could, if they do chores well in the house, hopefully as they grow up, they'll do chores, inverted commas, or citizen kind of favors, if you like, for other people. As well as just a general kind of discipline of, I know that something needs to be done. It might not be the most pleasant thing, but I do it anyway. And the discipline, resilience. So for me, those are the important ways. To your question of how to get kids to do it. So what do kids like to do? What do all humans love to do? We love to play, actually, don't we? Like we all seek out play. We are naturally seeking out play. Any parent who's trying to leave the house in the morning and the kids are not getting ready, but they're off playing with whatever instead, like can experience this. I experience it nearly every morning myself. So how to make chores playful, right? Full of play. It would just make chores less of a chore, right? Even that word sounds a bit kind of boring, doesn't it? So again, like with my philosophy is all around questions and playful conversations, right? So one example that we do is dishwasher and stacking the dishwasher, which most children can do from even a fairly young age. I like to play the how many plates would fit in here kind of game, right? So depending on what is going in there, that particular load, how many plates do you think we'll get in here? How many cups do you think we'll get in here? Which is some sort of estimation, guesstimation. It's using numbers in a different way, right? Examples like that, or what I mentioned before, if you're with the fridge, right? You've got the shopping, and the shopping needs to be put away. Again, if it's most children could help with that, particularly the lower shelves. Oh, what are different ways we could organize? You get to organize our bottom shelf. Like, how do you want to do that? Do you know what I mean? To make it, make it as playful as possible. Yeah,
playful, and I suppose there then comes responsibility. And then, Kevin, I reckon, start them young so that perhaps, maybe, fingers crossed, when they reach the teenage years, they might just do this as a matter of course.
Yeah,
that's
indeed.
The dream.
That's the dream, right? How much of what you do, what I do, everybody does, has come from just this habit that we built since we're sort of 3 or 4 years old, and then hopefully kind of it grows from that, right? One lovely habit that we've got into as a family I don't know how, but I'm not going to stop this habit. Is we go litter picking, kind of just once a month around our block. Nothing too crazy, but now every time we're walking off to school and one of the kids spots a bit of litter, they're like, oh look, Daddy, there's some rubbish here. And I say, oh yeah, will you remind us we need to go this weekend? We'll do a bit of litter picking. Small things like that. For us, that works. But every family will get in.
Very quickly, Kavin, how young should we be encouraging children to get involved in chores like this around the house? What age are you talking?
I think to your point, Lynette, the younger the better. But ultimately, every parent knows their own child the best, right? So it's for them to say. It could be as young as 3, right? My youngest child has started to help fold laundry as an example because he sees mummy do it and daddy do it, and we're modeling it for them. And so what they see parents doing, they often like to imitate. And he actually thinks it's fun right now, not a chore. So whenever you want, every parent knows their child best.
He sees it as fun. Long may that last. Kavin, great to talk to you today. Thank you very much for your time. And Kavin Wadhar is the founder of the Kid Coach app. And if anyone listening tries out the tips with their children,